And we live. Happy Wednesday and welcome to another Everybody Can't Go Convo. I'm your host, Jessi Holley. And today, look, things have really come full circle. We are right back where we were about 7 weeks or so ago. We are right back to realignment. Okay, not back to realignment, but we've talked about alignment before. And for this month, as we've talked about resetting, I wanted to come back to talking about that alignment that we spoke about 2 months ago, something like that. During the last series, while we were talking about rebuilding, we talked about alignment with the future you based upon what you currently have. So, as we've built throughout this series, we're on episode 4 of we're on episode 5 now of this series. I want to talk back through with you what it looks like to realign after you have gone through a reset period. Because when you're looking at rebuilding, sometimes that realignment, it looks a little bit different than realigning during a reset or after a reset. And whether you have gone through your phase of rebuilding or whether you have just gone full stop and you like, look, I need a reset, hard or soft, you will need to realign some things in your life so that you can make sure that you're building the life that matches the vision that you have addressed and rewrote based upon the grief and loss that you may have experienced, based upon life transitions, based upon your rebuilding, and based upon a reset that you may have experienced so far. So, when you are looking again at building a life that matches your vision, you'll want to make sure that your actions, your relationships, habits, and environment with the future that you say that you want, that all of those things are aligned with what you have discovered about yourself during your time of reset. So let's revisit why that alignment matters. Today I wrote down, okay, I will say I have about 5 points because I kind of just put a bunch of bullets and kept going with the things that I want to make sure that I touch on with you guys today. But I wanted to remind you why alignment matters because I kind of don't remember what I talked about in that other episode when we talked about alignment. But I know that we did talk about misalignment creating frustration. And because you have taken the time out when you were assessing what you needed to reset in life, whether or not you needed a reset, whether or not you were taking on the challenge of doing a hard reset or a soft reset, either way, misalignment with the challenge that you decided to take on for the betterment of your future, if things are not aligned, is going to create frustration. Remember, you don't want to just be doing work just for the sake of doing it, doing the 75 hard thing just cause. Like, why are you doing it? Where does it align and how does it align? What does it align with what you are trying to build moving forward? And also important so that you're not just doing something that is inadvertently just tearing up what it is that you were trying to build at the end of the day. Alignment does create momentum. That momentum is able to pick up and keep going. Now, honestly, the momentum is going to pick up and keep going no matter whether you aligned or misaligned. So it's in your best interest to make sure that you, when you are in the midst of a rebuild or a reset, that you pay attention to alignment, because we don't want to get the ball rolling and it's rolling in the wrong direction. Now it's all off in left field and you like, yeah, no, that's not what I was trying to do. And so this is why alignment is important, okay? Because I wouldn't want you to have like a lot of momentum, but it's falling downhill and it's falling downhill fast toward the tar pit. instead of getting that momentum going uphill, going toward your goals and what it is that you are actually trying to accomplish. Remember, that momentum is going to be there either way. You choose whether that momentum is going to carry you in a negative or a positive direction. But I'm hoping for you that it's going to carry you in that positive and healthy direction. And then also, success does become easier when your life supports your goals and your goals support the way that you would like to live and your goals feed into your vision. So, all of those things, why alignment matters. And so, just for that refresher, I don't want y'all to forget that because a lot of times we, it's easy to look away from alignment when you aren't thinking about, well, why am I making this choice? What is it helping? But also, what is it harming? Because really, when you're looking at alignment, I dare to say it might not be a neutral in there for you. It's going to take you on, it's either going to take you closer to what you want or further away from it. So make sure that what you're doing is in alignment with the outcome that you truly desire so that you're not tearing stuff up. So the next thing that I wanted to talk about was areas of your life that need alignment and could possibly need realignment during your seasons of not only rebuilding, but during a season of reset. When you're looking at the areas that need alignment during your time of reset, and some of the areas that you may need to realign, it may be a realignment that is temporary or that is finite based upon the what it is that you're resetting and the set of actions that you're choosing to take while you are in that reset period to get you back on track of working on your goals that feed into your vision. So ask yourself, who supports your vision? Who's draining your energy or resources? Who can't go with you during the next season? Now, this is why I said that it may be temporary because depending on what you are taking on as a part of your reset, you might not have as much time to be present. You may not have the resources or the energy that you used to have, or at least not have it available right now, like during your reset. And also looking at who can't go into your next season. Once you hit that reset button, especially if you're doing a hard reset and you're putting foot to pavement, you putting belt to that, who does not get to benefit after you go through all of the hard work of toiling, of making the changes, of embracing the pivots, of sticking it out, of swallowing your dislike or disdain for the delay, the sweat, blood, and tears that got to go in it. Who can't go into that next season because they weren't supportive? Because they was like, I ain't shooting in the gym, but they want to come to the championship party though for the celebration. Just take a look at the relationships that you are keeping and ask yourself that. Next area is take a look at your habits. Make sure that as you are transitioning out of that hard or soft reset season, the habits that you implemented during your reset, are you going to sustain those habits or are there some maintenance habits that you need to put in place? I would say for a hard reset, because it's something that is more drastic and direct, you may be looking at tweaking the new habits so that they are sustainable over a longer period of time. And take a look at what habits you started, whether you were in a hard or soft reset, and take a look at the habits that you started during that time that right now, like, it doesn't require a change. You could just go ahead and keep doing what you were doing as a part of your reset because now it's a part of your routine. Things like a morning routine that was very productive for you. If you implemented some really good time management. It may have been either like meticulous or very precise, but it's been working out very well for you to keep you organized, keep you on task, to keep you I can't think of the word, but to keep you on task and on track, to keep you executing and getting those results. That time management may be something that you might want to go ahead and keep that habit, especially if it's been getting you the results that you were looking for. Any of the health habits that you have taken on during your reset, whether that be for your mental health, and disclaimer, I am not a mental health care professional or a clinician. I am a coach. Make sure that not only do you tune in for this podcast and coaching, but that you also speak with a licensed mental health care clinician. Disclaimer over. But the health habits that you may have picked up for your mental health, you may have been in a time in life where you needed to see a therapist multiple times a week or once a week. If you are feeling like you're in that lane where don't drop your therapist, okay? Don't drop your professional clinician. Instead of going 8 times a month, maybe you could reduce it down to 4. So instead of 2, 3 times a week, maybe you're good with a once a week check-in. If things are going smooth sailing, maybe once bi-weekly, so once every 2 weeks for maintenance. That may be a good habit for you to keep. So adjusting those habits so that you can continue your smooth sailing and maintain the work that you did during your reset period. For your emotional health habits, if you were taking time for meditation, you were taking time for those mindfulness moments, maybe go ahead and set that little thing on the Apple Watch that gives you the little tap tap to remind you, let's take a mindfulness minute. Go ahead and set it so that it goes off every hour, every 2 hours, so that you can make sure that throughout the day, you take the time to just and do your deep breathing for the 1 to 2 minutes, or shoot, take a miniature little 5 minute break. We're supposed to be taking breaks throughout the day anyway. And stop staring at the screen. I can't remember off the top of my head. Y'all gonna have to Google this one, but it's somewhere between like every 2 to 4 hours max. Like, we don't pay attention to how often and how long we are staring at screens. The problem with staring at screens is because it's like right here in our face, there are different levels of vision that have to do with our depth perception when you're looking at something. So whether you're looking at something that's close to you or looking far away, the screens, the blue light, staring at something for hours and hours every single day at that close range, instead of making sure that you have the proper amount of breaks and time to look at things that are further in the background, that does have an effect on your eyesight. So look, take that mental break and that mindfulness break. And if you need another reason why, make sure that you think about your eyes and the things that are going on inside of our head, in terms of the nerves and all of the stuff at the back of your eyeballs that it is affecting. I That's something I had to implement a couple years ago. Like, once I paid attention to it, I was like, oh, you can actually feel your eyes, the back of your eyes, when you look away from the screen and like look out the window, like literally look into the distance. And so that became one of my breaks that I would take every 2 hours. I would stand at the window for about 2 minutes and literally look out the window into the distance, just to look. That's what the science said to do. Y'all see, I already got glasses. So I need to do all I can and eat some carrots. Other health habits that you may want to keep up, those physical habits. If you took on going to the gym, you might not need to be on your, I don't know, one of those extreme boot camp thingies. You gonna lose 20 pounds in 30 days if you come to this extreme boot camp, blah, 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 and eat these macros or whatever. Probably not sustainable for months and months. And even if you have even if you have gone through the undertaking of doing one of those extreme, extreme physical boot camps or extreme detoxes or whatever it is, any of those things, when it's extreme like that, it was never meant for you to do that month after month after month. Most of the time, something like that is meant to get you on a kickstart, and then your habits that you're looking at aligning so that you can maintain that or keep some of those healthy habits. You would be looking at making sure that you're getting your physical movement daily, making sure that you are incorporating your weightlifting. You aren't just gonna stop the diet and just go eat everything and whatever. So that the results that you have seen during your time of reset, you can maintain those results and sustain those results. The same thing with your financial habits. You may have taken the time to set a savings plan. Keep up with that savings plan. There are times in life where, in different seasons, where we will have some extreme savings goals or some very aggressive savings goals. We have those aggressive savings goals for a finite amount of time. But that doesn't mean that once that period is over, if you were very aggressively saving toward a financial goal, you don't just stop saving just because you met the goal. You want to maintain that healthy financial habit by, you may not save $1,000 a month. You may, once you hit your goal, you may say, okay, now I'm going to save $500. I may add back in some of the fund money or some of the money for miscellaneous things or for shopping. The parts of your budget that you cut all the way down to the bare minimum. You can fluff out those portions of the budget within moderation and wisely so that you can maintain those savings habits. And I mean, if you found that going through an extreme or appointed financial saving strategy, if you're like, you know what, I really didn't miss that $1,000 every month that I've been saving or that I've been investing. If you ain't really missing it, that's something easy for you to go ahead and maintain. Because if you only know where that money was going before and you were able to buckle down and do something productive with that money, and you were maintaining just fine, or you were doing just fine during your reset, that's a habit that you could go ahead and keep. Make sure, but it's going to take thinking about what you're thinking about and paying attention to what you're doing for you to go ahead and maintain that habit even after your period of reset. Some of those environmental changes that we talked about, whether that be your physical spaces, redoing that section in your home for you to read, take rest, take time to yourself. Are you maintaining that new reading corner? Are you making sure that that little mini fridge that you put over by your cute little spot by the couch, did you put some more waters in there? Are you keeping up with that space? Did you water your plants? Did you water that little plant that you put over there? Did you replace your flowers in the vase? And some of those things about the physical environment, physical spaces, you can maintain those things. Next, those social circles and those digital spaces. Now, those social circles, if you were intentionally making sure that during your reset, you were participating in new or different social circles or environments, do you still want to maintain that? Did you decide to break out of your shell and say, I'm going to go out twice a week? Is that really maintainable? Do you need to just choose a day that now you're going to have one day a week where you will go out and enjoy an activity? You will go out to investigate a cultural event or to network or mix and mingle to meet new people. What frequency is maintainable moving forward? It may be once a week, it could be once a month. And then those digital spaces, if you cleared and decluttered your feed and some of those pages that you were following that you like, wait a minute, self life, how did we get here? why are we following this page? If you've decluttered your social media, you can look at realigning your usage moving forward by making sure don't follow those pages back with the foolishness. You can replace those pages with following pages that are more aligned with where you're going. Follow more business pages, inspirational and motivation pages. Follow on Instagram, Everybody Can't Go Convos Pod. Follow on YouTube, Everybody Can't Go Convos Podcast. You see what I did there? Make sure that in your digital spaces that you are presetting yourself up for being able to maintain the new habits that you have created after that reset. And if you need to leave that little timer thing on your phone so that you don't start doom scrolling, leave that little social media timer on your phone. Sometimes it takes longer than a reset period so that you can make sure that you ain't just scrolling just to be scrolling. And yeah. I'm not going to even go into the science behind that. Just know that the same way, and you know what? There's nothing wrong with no, there is something wrong if you have a gambling problem. You know what? I'm not going to try to say it in a nice way. The same thing that's wrong with folks that have a gambling problem, that love that dopamine rush that comes from looking at slot machines. That's literally what has been built into your feed. That's part of the reason why once we start scrolling, we keep scrolling. It's literally been built like that. So just because you ain't got a gambling problem, don't mean that part of your brain don't light up those same synapses and neurons so that you can get that same kind of feeling. So it ain't just you. I've even had to take time where, even with me being aware of that, I have to be aware while I'm aimlessly scrolling to say, wait a minute, stop. I don't have to continue scrolling. I could do another quote unquote mindless activity. I can take out a coloring book. I could do a crossword puzzle. Ooh, I could do my Sudoku. And not a crossword puzzle. Word search. That's my thing. Crossword puzzles kind of get on my nerves. Word search, that's what I'm talking about. I've been getting them things mixed up since back in the day. I'm talking about like newspapers back in the day. But yeah, choosing like what are some of the other mindless activities you could do, or go for a walk. Find yourself something to do. Go clean the bathroom. Make sure that you are also reviewing, realigning your commitments. You may have cleared your calendar to save a lot of your time as a part of that time management. You may have cleared your calendar out. Is your current calendar aligned with your goals moving forward? You may have cleared out that calendar and set up some things during that reset period, but for maintaining everything that you worked on during your reset, are your calendar and your goals aligned? Are your time blocking and your goals aligned? The time management that you need to realign post reset, have you done that so that you're still headed toward your goal, so that you're still building toward your vision? Because again, the purpose isn't doing the reset just to do the reset to say, oh yeah, look, I did it. The reset, the ultimate purpose or the long-term purpose of the reset is so that you can maintain the changes that you have made. Not just to do it to say you did it and then you right back to where you were at the beginning of your reset period. Do you have priorities reflected in your daily actions? Again, just because a reset period may be over for you or may be done, don't just drop some of the things that you prioritize, some of the things that you added on the daily or every other day, or some of the things that you added weekly. Examine, and realign what things do you need to keep in what moderation do you need to keep them in so that you are able to maintain the motivation and the momentum that you have grown and regained during your reset period. I'm pointing at the sign, y'all, for everybody on audio. I'm pointing to the everybody can't go sign. As a part of realigning and maintaining, moving forward, your reset, to make sure that you get the most juice out of that squeeze. Not every relationship belongs in the next season that you are moving into or transitioning into, especially after you put in all that work during this reset. Come on now. And especially with folks that while you was doing the reset, they didn't want to be fooling with you no way. And wasn't supportive. They don't get to reap the benefits of the harvest on the afterwards tip and they ain't did nothing. No thank you. Bye. Not every opportunity deserves a yes. So don't say yes to everything. No is still a complete sentence. No is still a complete sentence. Shout out to Mel T. When new opportunities are coming your way and when you winning, everybody want to be in the midst and opportunities seem like they're coming from left and right. Make sure that you are actively thinking about and praying on PRAY, not PREY, praying on the opportunities that come across your desk, that come across your timeline, that come across your phone, come across your path in the physical, any of those things, because every opportunity does not deserve a yes. And it's up to you to maintain your progress by determining when no is required. And also when determining a not right now is required. Just because it's not yes doesn't mean it's a no. You may not be ready. You may not be completely prepared yet. The point is, don't just say yes to everything, especially when you don't need to. And make sure that you are preserving the power of your no. And that's why it's a complete sentence, because you don't need explanation for the not right now, even if that's what you determine to yourself. And just know that not every commitment aligns with your purpose. That's the point of realigning. There may have been some rooms, some people, some opportunities, some spaces that you were in, some habits, some routines, some things that you were doing, volunteering for, all of this other stuff. There may have been some things that you committed to that are no longer in alignment with your purpose. That is the point of realigning. There could be commitments that for you are now outdated. They're no longer current. After you have made an assessment during your rebuilding stage, after you have taken a look at what it looks like to reset, and when you get to the point of realigning your goals, your daily life, and your perspective, you'll find that some of the commitments that you had prior to your own commitment to having a reset, that it's no longer in alignment with your purpose, no longer in alignment with your realigned goals, and no longer in alignment with your rewritten vision, where you have made those necessary tweaks, changes, and pivots. And that's okay. If your realignment causes you to need to change your stance on certain commitments, or you have to establish new boundaries around the commitments that you've made, or you need to realign the commitments or bring some of those things to an end. So while you are looking at realigning after a period of reset, I would encourage you to create a 90-day realignment plan so that you can really move into the nitty-gritty of protecting your alignment, of paying attention to the new boundaries that are needed, the new accountability that may be needed, or the next level of accountability that may be needed, so that you can protect and maintain the consistency in the places that you need to, so that you can continue to grow and build on the journey that you embarked on during your reset. And also so that you can realign your self-awareness. Last week we talked about reframing your mindset, reframing the way that you think, getting rid of some of those negative thoughts, getting rid of some of the mindset that may have gotten out of misalignment for where it is that you are headed toward. By the time you finish a period of reset, when you get to the end of the reset itself, that current state is going to require you to realign so that you can make sure that you are still headed in the direction of your goals, the path that you want to be on, building toward your purpose and building your vision. And again, we talked about alignment at the end of the rebuild series. When you are rebuilding after grief and loss, that is one of those times where you have to take that pause so that you can say, okay, based upon what I have right now and where I'm going, how do I need to realign these different areas in my life to make sure that I'm still on that path? The same thing goes for being in alignment, which is why I talked about realignment, because once you're at the end of a reset period, that alignment that you may have established before, you will need to realign it to make sure that the changes and those little places where you need to make tweaks, those little tweaks in many different areas, it can create a big difference over time. So we want to make sure that the positive changes that you've made, that even if you made 5 or 10 small tweaks 90 days from now, how you realign and whether or not you choose to look at everything to realign it to your path 90 days from now, that is going to make a difference. Because remember, I'm going to bring back my analogy of if you were leaving from New York and you are headed for LA, and you are 1 degree off. By the time you get all the way across the map, that 1 degree, you are no longer landing in LA. You are going to be way off. This is why realignment is important, even though I know you like, but we just aligned and we did, but that was a couple of months ago. And we have gone through several different phases. We have taken on rebuilding. We have taken on going through a reset. After each of those things, whether you've taken on the rebuild or you've taken on the reset, if you have rebuilt something, alignment has to be a part of that. And if you're on a reset, realignment is a part of that. And to make sure that you don't end up that 1 degree off in 90 days from now. You're talking about something, but Jessi, you said, I say realign, to make sure that you are still on the path that you need to be on so that you can get to the goal that you intend and so that you can get to the goal that you desire, whether that be personal, professional, relationship wise, or having to do with your wellness, mental, physical, or emotional, or spiritual, or financial. So, as we are looking toward the future, make sure that you put focus on those areas that I just named: personal, professional, relationship wise, and wellness. So, with the wellness, mental, emotional, spiritual, financial, in all, what is that, 7 of those areas, 7 or 8 of those areas, create a 90-day realignment plan so that the habits that you are maintaining going forward are at a more moderate pace so that you're able to handle everything as you are continuing forward after that reset period. I would say if you've been on the like go hard for the past 30 days or so for all of this month, if you just jump straight in, like, yes, it's July 1st, we at the midway point, and now we're to the end of the month, and you're looking at, rounding out that reset period, especially if it was a hard reset, it was extreme. I guess you'll still be working on it if you started 75 hard. But if you did a hard reset for the month and or are still in the midst of a hard reset, still start working on that 90-day realignment plan so that you'll be able to maintain the results that you get at the end of that hard reset. And also, if you did a soft reset, make sure that you're creating that 90-day realignment plan so that you can maintain your results that you got from executing during the reset period that you have chosen, whether that be for the month or you're doing the 75 days. And drop in the comments below. Let us know what are some of the things that you are going to do so that you can maintain the results that you've been getting over the course of this month. What are you pleased with so far? What areas do you want to do a bit more work in? And what are you going to do to maintain at a moderate pace so that you can keep and continue to build on that momentum and that motivation that you've regained throughout the course of this month, if you have been one of the folks who decided to take a reset. So after you've gone through your reset period, ask yourself what in your life is currently out of alignment with the future that you're trying to create. Even if you have already looked at alignment, after you've gone through your reset period, what areas in your life do you need to realign based upon the resets and the results that you got from your reset so that you can get to your final goal accomplishment and so that you can build out that part of your vision? So we are wrapping up the reset series. So if you have made it to the end of this episode, thank you for joining me for the past 5 episodes. We've been talking about reset and the realignment. And so I would like to invite you guys to download a free reset and realign workbook that I came up with for you guys, because I know that sometimes you may want to refer back to something. And sometimes it's something that you want to refer back to ain't 5 straight episodes of a podcast to re-listen to it again. By all means, do come back and listen to the episodes as needed. But as you are working on that action plan that I told you, like, hey, get your 90-day action plan together, like do the thing. Of course, I'm gonna make sure you got the hookup. And so click the link below to download the Reset and Realign workbook completely free. And it will walk you through a handful of questions to help summarize a lot of the things that we've talked about during this series over the course of this month. And again, that's completely free. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel, like, comment. What did you like? What didn't you like? What are some of the things that you thought about during this series? Share the episode with someone who has gone through a reset period of their own. And you're like, well, hey, you did your reset, but what about realignment so that you're able to maintain the results, the momentum, and the motivation that you gained during your period or season of reset? As always, go ahead and head over to www.everybodycg.com. Get your copy of Everybody Can't Go, the book that became the brand, this podcast, and a movement. That is available for you right now. You can get it at the website, on Amazon, and at barnesandnoble.com. So I will leave you guys with not only your free Reset Realign workbook at the link below. That's www.everybodycg/reset for those of you who are listening and may not want to click the show notes below. And you may see a link on the main page for you when you go over to the site so that you can access that freebie. And if you are interested in additional resources, now, even though I do the giveaways and I got freebies for you, there are upgraded materials for those of you who are VIP members to the Everybody Can't Go subscription, where you get bonus episodes, additional resources, workbooks, live sessions with me, and monthly giveaways. So you can also click the link below so that you can join the subscribership of Everybody Can't Go Convos podcast, where you will receive additional freebies and different things. That is monthly. So click the link below so that you're able to access that. And just remember, one of the things that I had to note down to myself and put it on one of my mini post-its so that I can keep myself motivated during the day. The life that you want wasn't built in one giant leap, and it won't be. It's built every time I choose to reset when I've drifted away from my goals, restart when I've stopped for whatever reason, reframe what you believe, and realign the vision that you have been called to create. My future, your future, deserves more than just good intentions. It deserves intentional, systematic action that yields tangible results, bringing back your motivation, regaining your momentum, and building toward that vision that ultimately we all want to build for ourselves. So thank you, thank you, thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you for joining me for the past 5 weeks during this reset series. And make sure that you share the episode with someone that you know that it could help to inspire and motivate them, or someone who needs the how-tos for getting that thing done. Thank you for tuning in for the Everybody Can't Go convo, and I'll see you next week.